How is it August 3rd, Zach, and Damian Lillard is still a Portland Trailblazer? Should Heat fans start to have some concern that maybe Portland is just going to make a statement?
No, because eventually I think that they will find a way to get the deal done, but there's no urgency for Portland. And it wouldn't shock me if Damian Lillard, and I've said this from the start, is with the Trailblazers to begin the season. But as it goes on, and if Damian Lillard, who doesn't want to play the villain role or the pain in the ass role, if he wants to pick it up in intensity on his end and be a pain, then he could make that deal go down a little bit quicker. I ultimately think he will be on the Miami Heat at some point in the season. I guess, though, if you're Portland, you don't have to do a move now and try to see if you get the price to go up a little bit, even if that's just at a minuscule amount.
And Zach, so Miami just sits there because the money they have, or they can create if they, move people, they could get some, not Damian Lillard type players, Zach, we know that, but they could get some good pieces. They should just sit around and wait, even if it's midseason, even if it's trade deadline. Miami should wait for Dame Lillard.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll make this comparison because you'll be able to understand it. Right now, the Miami Heat are myself, and the Portland Trailblazers are Channing Crowder. And I'm just waiting for them to say, okay, let's get this deal done. Let's do this interview. Let's do this thing. So you're Portland, you hold the cards there, and Miami, whenever they get the sense from Portland are ready to make a deal, they'll get this thing done.
And Leroy Horde is Tyler Herro, because someone's going to end up with Leroy, and they're going to be thrilled. I was thinking about this. Is Tyler Herro, because he's going to end up elsewhere, probably not with Portland, but not with Miami. Is Tyler Herro a legit prize in this whole thing? What's the national perspective? We love him. I wonder what the national perspective is.
So is Tyler Herro a 1 or 2 on a championship team? No. Can you make the case that he could be a 3? I guess in the right situation. I view him as more of a 4, but he's a young, exciting player with upside. And you look around the rest of the league, like if you want to tell me that the Sixers will give you Tyrese Maxey, okay. I may be more interested in a player like Tyrese Maxey, but ultimately the Sixers aren't going to be able to get rid of James Harden because no one wants him. So out of the guys that could be available, it really seems like it's either Herro or Maxey. And I just don't think Philly will be able to find a way to get the deal done. And also, Dame doesn't want to go there. And sure, Damian Lillard could say now that he's not going to go play for another team and he only wants to go to the Miami Heat and all that stuff. I just wonder if another team calls their bluff and calls his bluff and gets Portland to say, okay, we'll do a deal. All this guy talks about is wanting to win a championship, and you're under contract for 3 more years. You're really not going to go and play for that team like Philadelphia that has Embiid.
And Zach, with is it Joe Cronin? I'm looking for somebody to be mad at. Is it Pat for not taking up the offer? Is it Joe Cronin for playing hardball? Is it Dame for doing what he's doing? Like if Heat fans especially, if they're upset by somebody's actions, who should it be?
Well, are Heat fans upset right now? Are they annoyed that this deal has not got done yet? Is that kind of the vibe down there?
I mean, we were expecting something pretty quick. Like it seemed like it was moving at breakneck speed, and then all of a sudden, 30 days, you don't hear boo.
Yeah, well, this is what I would say. Tell Heat fans to go back and look at Kevin Durant's departure with the Nets. That took time, and he didn't get what he wanted right away. Go look at James Harden's original departure from Houston. That took some time. Then also in Brooklyn, took time as well. Ben Simmons in Philadelphia, that took time. Ultimately, I think this is Portland just being smart, saying, probably what the end outcome is. It's just how long can you let this thing and how long do you actually want this thing to linger out in terms of maybe getting a minor upgrade in some compensation back. Because that's the other thing. Pat Riley is, if we all know, is not a dumb man. He's not going to bend over backwards here in a situation where he knows he doesn't need to do that.
Right. I mean, they've made it clear, right? We're not going to negotiate against ourselves. But the longer that it goes, is there the reason for Heat fans to get a little bit nervous? Because like you say, there may be some team that decides, you know what, I'll call the bluff. Let's figure something out here, because what percentage chance would you put on Damian Lillard being a Miami Heat player at some point this coming season?
Oh, I think it's high. I would say it's 70%, maybe north of even 70%, because you guys are waiting, but you haven't really made any big moves. Like, we already seen the Boston Celtics give, all the money in the world to Jaylen Brown, and they acquired Kristaps Porzingis. Philadelphia can't unload James Harden, and free agency for the most part is pretty much over. And you've already had some trades go down as well, seeing what the Phoenix Suns have been able to do to go get Bradley Beal. So there's already teams that have made all these moves and have addressed what they wanted to do, so it takes them out of the running. Could that pick back up by the trade deadline? Sure. And maybe it goes that far, but ultimately it just makes too much sense on both sides to get this deal done. If it means you got to go find another third team to get Portland back, some more, or you have to bring another team into the mix, maybe that could complicate it. But ultimately, it seems like everyone knows what's going to happen, and that's going to be Damian Lillard at one point is going to wind up in Miami. The question just is, how long is that going to take? But I wouldn't be concerned if I'm a Heat fan, because here's the thing, guys. If, let's just say, you don't get Damian Lillard, then you still have a team that, with Jimmy Butler, has been to 2 NBA Finals. Now, I do think you need Damian Lillard to go win that championship, but you look at an Eastern Conference where you're curious what Boston and Milwaukee and Philadelphia will all look this year. The Heat are right there for the taking, and they could be a team you look at, and it doesn't even matter what they do in the regular season, because as we've seen it 2 different ways, them find a way to get to the finals with this core.
And is it ever too late? Because you're talking about next year's trade deadline. We're talking about next, February? You know what I'm saying? Is it ever too late where we know that, we have Damian Lillard now, but we might be 11-30 or some crap or something like that? Like, is it too late to acquire Damian to really impact next season?
If it doesn't happen this year, then yeah, absolutely. But I'd be surprised if it doesn't go down by the trade deadline. And there's still a chance that it happens before the start of the season, because if you're Portland, now Dame has given it every indication he's going to handle this the right way, but all Damian Lillard has to do is show up and start to be a pain in the ass and be that guy that he did not want to be, and why it took him so long in terms of getting out of Portland. And once he does that, you can pick up the intensity in this situation and really put the pressure on Portland to get him on out of there.
What do you think ends up happening with James Harden? Because you've said a couple times that there are no takers. You think he ends up staying in Philly?
James Harden will be on the Sixers to start the season, in my opinion. James Harden may want to voluntarily leave the Sixers and then just go to every strip club around the country, because it seems as if James Harden is more interested in the nightlife and the partying scene than actually going out and winning a championship. And it's ridiculous that he wants out of Philadelphia, because Daryl Morey, who I think is so overrated, but he's a moron to trust James Harden again. And then you bring him to Philadelphia knowing he's not going to be the guy that puts you over the top to win a championship. And then James Harden opts in, but he doesn't want to be there anymore. And now he's annoyed at the organization, blah, blah, blah. Like, what is he annoyed at? Because Doc Rivers wanted you to show up and actually give it your all instead of coming in from a strip club the night before and not giving 100%. Like, those are the things, to me, they're just asking James Harden, and Doc Rivers not even there, to just have a little bit more urgency and a little bit more care. And whenever someone tells James Harden something to do, he then tries to go somewhere else. But I don't see why you would bring in James Harden at this point, because he's not going to be the guy that you win a championship with. So unless you're just a team that want to bring him in and maybe you'll get some money out of him and get more fans in the seat, sure. But I don't even think James Harden, who's a good player and he'll be a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's this big attraction, this big draw anymore. So I ultimately believe that he'll be unhappy, but he'll be in Philadelphia.
And Zach, this is even my question, just listening to your answer. What is James, though? Is he a 3? Is he a 4? Is he Lou Williams? Is he a 6th man of the year type guy that comes off the bench, you see if he can play, and if he's not having a night, you sit him down? What is James Harden now for an NBA team?
Well, James Harden will never take a reduced role, but James Harden is a guy that at times he looks like he could be the star. He could be the man. You even saw it this past year in the playoffs where without Joel Embiid, they won that first game up against the Boston Celtics. And then he had that great game 4, but he's just not in great shape. And then you see him slow down that series. No show in game 5, no show in game 6, no show in game 7. So there's times where he could find a way to look like the old James Harden, but consistently throughout a year, he's not going to be that player, especially when you need him the most. He dribbles a lot, he will shoot the ball a lot, and he'll go to the strip club a lot. That's what James Harden is at this point.
Where does he want to go? Has he made it clear where does he want to go?
Clippers.
Wherever the best strip clubs are. So I'm sure he would love to go to Miami. I'm sure he would love to go to LA. There's a Reddit thread that has documented the numbers when James Harden goes to a good strip club compared to cities that have a bad strip club. So this guy just loves the strip club. There's a story out of Houston. I'm sure you guys, this was years ago, but I'm sure you talked about it, where in Houston, they have his jersey retired in the strip club because he dropped $1 million there one night. $1 million. Like, I get
what
it.
turned you on him? You obviously do not like James Harden and his off-court antics, although there's nothing wrong with a gentleman's club. Fine fan of the cheetah. What turned you on James Harden? There's something, because I could tell just when you say his name, something turned you.
No, so it's not that I dislike James Harden. I actually have a Fear the Beard T-shirt. It's just how many times, this is what drives me nuts, how many times do we see the same thing and we continue to expect something different? James Harden for years has been this great regular season player, but come postseason time, he doesn't get the job done. Like, if we look back at his 3 best postseason moments, it's probably that block that he had up against the Thunder in that game 7 when the series shouldn't even have gone that far. And then this year, playing a good game 1 up against the Celtics and then a good game 4 up against the Celtics as well. It's just James Harden is very good. He's not a guy that come postseason time, I expect him to be great. And we have all these talking heads throughout the year that they expect something to be different. And every single time in the postseason, he comes up short.
Well, if this is an assessment, as a strip club connoisseur and genius, I would say, Zach, I'll go through I'll go through my cities. So if it's not Miami, it might have to be Houston. He's already been to Houston. I would actually say, I don't know if the Atlanta Hawks can acquire him, but Atlanta's a great place. Vegas has wonderful strip clubs. I was just there with Floyd Mayweather at the Girl Collection. Dallas, Toronto. Is Miami, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, Dallas, or Toronto anything for James Harden? Because that would be my tops.
I think Vegas. He should demand a trade to Vegas.
I'll give you one more. Guys, what about New Orleans? He can hang out with Zion Williamson, right? Be a good influence on Zion.
Those are strippers. Zach. I just want to let you know that's not a stripper. That's a different line of work.
Interesting.
Hey, Channing, by the way, have you ever been, what's that place in Atlanta, Magic City, where it was Lou Williams during the pandemic? Where
have you ever been? You're insulting him, Zach.
Zach, I have a seat. I have a seat in Magic City. When I walk in, they know I need my seat right to the right of the stage.
So when are we going? When are we getting Len Wider to pay for the Hoch Crowder, Gelb, Solana, Magic City remote broadcast?
I mean, that's like asking me, have I ever been to Manco and Manco on Ocean City Boardwalk? I mean, that's insulting. How dare you insult Crowder that way?
And to be honest, Zach, I'd have a lot of explaining to do if I brought Hawk, yourself, and Solana into Magic City. It would be some questions.
I don't even like pepper.
Is that the name of the wings or the stripper?
Crowder, who your boys? They cool. Don't worry about them. They cool.
By the way, I thought I saw Hawk down at the shore when I was there last weekend, because at about 10:30 a.m., I saw a disheveled, angry-looking older man with a beard eating a burger at the Margate Dairy Bar at about 10:30 a.m. when I was on my walk, and I thought that was you for a second.
Very well could have been me. I've been known to fly in for a dairy bar and then fly right out. Zach Gelb, enjoy Long Island, Zach.
You got it. Catch you guys later. Be well.
There you go. You can listen to him on the CBS Sports Radio Network. You can listen to him tonight from his home studio right there on Long Island.